Welcome to Portia's Queen, the podcast, where we talk about life, love, and business. So, are you ready, Sammy?
I'm ready.
You ready? You counting it down like life, love, and business?
I love that. I would have to write that down.
Fantastic. I mean, that's who we are to the core. It's about being authentic and being yourself, and all of those things are your makeup, right? So, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, I would like to start off by saying I feel like I'm all about that. Life, love, and especially business.
Especially business.
Yes. So I am a entrepreneur. I have been an entrepreneur for, I feel like since the pandemic, I feel like put something in me that was like, I feel like I want to step out and, take a risk on my dreams and doing my own thing. My background is actually in journalism, and I was, a journalist for years and years, and still a passion of mine. However, I felt like I wanted to do something different, and I shifted to finance. I feel like with finance, with money, you can change anybody's life.
Yeah.
So my mission is to try to help people get that grounding, to just learn something different. Because, finances can take you anywhere. It can make or break you.
It definitely can make or break you.
Yes.
When your finances aren't in order, a lot of other things in your life just can't possibly be in order. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So I actually got into learning about finances in the stock market 2020. The world has shut down. I feel like a lot of people were just trying to figure life out. And a lot of people got into the stock market and they were just trying to figure out how to get income.
Yeah.
And for me, what was most important initially was to get out of debt.
Okay.
A lot of people want to learn, about trading and investing, but you have to get the grounding first. And that is like getting out of debt, owing no one.
Right.
So everything that you bring in, you don't have to pay it out.
Right.
So I started listening to Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
And it got, instilled in my brain how important it was to just pay off everything, pay off my credit cards and pay off my car.
Okay.
So I just got so focused on working and just using everything, mostly everything I had. I had to pay my bills, of course, like, rent and everything else, but everything else that was left over, I didn't go out. It wasn't many places you can go out to do anything. And I just bought my basics, but everything else, I put that money towards paying off my credit cards and paying off my car.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I ended up paying off my car 3 years early, and I paid off all my credit cards. And the feeling of not owing anybody and just, having to pay for
just basic necessities.
Basics, it feels so good. So with all this extra money coming in, I was like, okay, what next? And that's when I started learning about investing and trading, and it just took off from there.
Okay. So it does take a level of attention span to be able to learn investing and trading and all of those things. Mm-hmm. What do you feel created that desire in you? Or have you always been hyper-focused on learning technical type of things? Because for the average person, learning investing and trading can be extremely intimidating. So,
no, I actually, with working in news, you have to work. You have to do all types of stories. So I would do, finance stories where I have to do a story about what's happening in the market or what crazy thing happened on Wall Street, and a lot of it I couldn't understand. To me, it sounded like another language. So I would have to go to, people who were more experienced, older than me, anchors most likely, to ask them, okay, what does this mean? Market open, market close, But it was always something I wanted to learn. But honestly, growing up, we didn't have much money. So when I thought of like the stock market, to me, it just seemed so far-fetched. It seemed like it was only something that rich people invested in. It didn't seem like it was anything for me or that I could ever, start learning or doing something like that. But one day I was, working on a story about a company who had got all this money from the government. And I was thinking, from what I've read before, this is the reason that the stock might go up.
Yeah.
So when I was supposed to be working, I opened up a brokerage account and I bought the stock. And I only had $200 to invest in it. I bought the stock, and it took probably a day for me to make like $700. And it was crazy. Maybe 1 to 2 days, right? And that blew my mind. I was like, "How is this possible? Like, I didn't even know what happened, and I really didn't understand it."
But
But
you
I was
got
like,
lucky.
"I
Do you
have
feel
to
like you got
learn."
lucky, or do you feel like it was strategy?
It was just luck.
Yeah.
It was no brain power. It was just luck, and I learned that as I went on to try to do more of it. And I was like, "Oh, I was just lucky that time." I was losing money, but I was like, "I'm gonna figure this out."
But it planted a seed.
It planted a seed that just grew, and I became like this finance nerd because I was like, I need to. If it was that easy for me, I know it can get better. So I started reading. I started taking classes, whatever I could to try to learn as much as I could, and eventually, it paid off. But I would go to work, and on my lunch break, I would be looking stuff up. I would pay attention to what was happening in the stock market that day. And it took about maybe a year and a half where I was comfortable enough where I was like, oh, I can replace my income with work.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving my job.
Oh my gosh.
And that was my focus. But it is hard. But I feel like anything worth it is going to be hard, but you just have to want it and you have to focus, and it's doable for anybody who wants it.
Awesome. Well, I have to get some notes from you, and I'll have to take a look. You do classes and things like that, right?
Yes. I host a lot of webinars where I teach people for free, the basics of the stock market, investing, trading. I'm actually working on a learning platform where I'm going to kick it off, where it's going to be like a free boot camp teaching you different things about stocks, trading, markets, what stocks to look for. That's going to be coming up in the spring.
Okay.
And then I have the actual learning platform that I'm working on, and stay tuned. It's going to launch.
I'm excited. And that one's going to be paid though, right?
That one will be paid.
Okay.
Yes, it's going to be subscription based where you can log in and get, whatever classes you need, live classes. And then also you only hear from me. It'll be different teachers on there as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Even though I'm sure we want the information from you, but also having like the other avenues to learn from.
Yes,
is essential as well.
Yes, because there's other focuses in finance. Like even though I paid off my debt, there's people who that's what they do. They teach credit, they teach debt, and that's their thing. There's people who teach budgeting. There's people in other areas, and I feel like it takes a team. So instead of everybody coming in and just learning about trading, I want people to get everything that they need all in one.
Yeah. What inspired you to open up the community? And it's one thing to do it for yourself, but it's another thing to take it to the level where you're doing it for other people.
Well, when I first started, I was just so excited. I was like, this is actually working. It didn't work so easily initially, but when it started working, I was excited. So I would just post about it. Or when I was like out and about with people, I'd just be, on my phone, like, oh, this is what's happening in this stock, right? And so everybody's response was like, oh, teach me. And then that made me like, oh, you know what? What am I doing? Just doing it for myself. I want to help people. I want to help my community. I want to help people that look like me.
Yeah.
Because, years ago, I never would have thought this would be my life. And here I am. So I want to make that a reality for other people as well.
Okay. Awesome. Well, what is the biggest life lesson that you feel that you've learned over the course of over your lifetime? Like, what is the life lesson you would like to share with the people?
I would say start early, and no matter where you are, right? Because sometimes I know a lot of people feel like they may not have enough income,
Yeah.
like how I felt. I didn't have enough money to trade or invest. And, but it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to get started. And there are a lot of resources out there where you can learn. You can get that knowledge, which is priceless, before you have to put in the actual funds. So I would say invest in your education
Okay.
because it'll set you apart.
Absolutely.
And I'm so happy that they're starting to teach more about like financial literacy in schools.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us didn't learn any of that. My life lesson is really learning how important financial literacy is. But not only that, reaching back and helping people.
Reaching back.
Yeah. So
sure.
that's why I try to give as many free classes as I can. Or if people, reach out to me, I try to give whatever resources I can to help them, because it's not all about, making money. Yeah. You have to make a difference. And that's what's most important, making a difference.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I agree with that for sure. So with that being said, your outward appearance, right, as far as like your social platforms, it screams money, investing, and things like that. And as we all know, dating is always a challenge in general. Have you found in dating that you come across people who are more focused on what you have versus who you are as a person?
I've definitely encountered that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that as a woman, encountering men who want me for my money, but
it happens.
It happens. And a lot of times it's like they put on a front initially, right, to get their foot in the door. And then I find out later that they're here to try to get some of what I've worked so hard for. Yeah. Or they'll come with the sob stories, I'm short on my rent, things like that. And it's crazy. So I try to run the other way.
The other way, yeah. And it's hard because you want to give everybody a shot. You want to find someone that you're genuinely interested in. And it's hard because when you do have something, you don't want to look for people because they have something. Mm-hmm. But you essentially almost have to do that, right? Because you have to kind of find someone that's kind of meeting you where you are.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Finding somebody that's equally yoked.
Yeah.
And I feel like women, we catch a lot of slack for wanting a man who's already there or has a certain, financial status. But if you're thinking about being with someone long term, it's so important.
It is.
And they teach this like in lots of other cultures, right? But I feel like Black women, we get it the hardest with being called gold diggers and all of this. But we're in 2025 now. Right. We're coming with our own money. Yeah. So we're not just looking for anybody's gold when we already have it.
Absolutely. And we're building more, right? Yes. So, and that's the goal. The goal is to combine households. The goal is to combine resources. The goal is to combine the power, right? Yes. And if we're just leeching on for power, right? Like we're trying to pull someone down, it can become difficult, especially in the dating arena.
Yeah. I feel like the other flip side of men not just coming to like look for money, I do encounter a lot of men who just think that I'm not looking for anything serious because I'm just so focused on my success.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, what, how did I give that off? I would like both. I want love, and business, like your podcast.
Absolutely. Right? Life too, right? Like all of those things matter. You should be able to have all of those things. Mm-hmm. You're deserving of all of those things. Yeah. And you're going to get all of those things because you have favor, right? So maybe it's not the season, maybe it's not the right time for but the right person that's looking with the right intentions will align at the right time. It is time right now for you to focus and grind, right? But when that love comes along, you're going to know it because they're going to come with their stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I know. It's so exciting. So that was a great point that you also brought up as far as like when we're heavily focused on our business, heavily focused on our jobs. You know, I've had relationship issues in the past because I was too focused on working, too focused on my business, too focused on my jobs that I've had. I've always been heavily focused on being the better version of myself, right? And while I love love and I have always been invested in love, I always found that it was a challenge for women who are also, you know, heavily focused on just building something, right? And being independent to a point to where, you know, not that we don't want anything or want or need a man for anything, but independent just for ourselves, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what drives your independence?
I feel like it was, you know, just feeling like I didn't have anybody else to lean on.
Yeah.
So just, you know, the urge of like, okay, either I'm going to sink or I have to swim on my own.
Yeah.
And from that, it was just a drive. Like I see success in my future and it's not coming to knock on my door. So I have to go and try to get it myself. And as I said, we grew up, you know, struggling a lot. And I didn't see that in my future. I wanted more. I wanted something different. So I decided like I gotta figure out what my thing is gonna be. And I thought it was one thing, but life, like it changes.
Yeah.
Like the same person you were 5 years ago, you're different today. And I'm happy that I made the change and here I am.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
I don't know if you hear it enough, but just knowing your story and just knowing you as a woman and just seeing how you are just walking through and blazing your own trail in this life. I have so much respect for you and I needed you to come on my platform. And when you said yes so easy, that was not only amazing to me, but it was just, you know, it was inspiring because, you know, I love that while we don't want to just say we're humble, we have humility, right? And no matter how big we get or how amazing, you know, we are walking through life, we still can come on to platforms. We still can come on and bless other people with free resources. We can come and share our life story to help and build other people. So I thank you for coming onto my platform today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
I remember when I met you and I was like, I would love to support her.
Yeah.
Like I heard about, you know, everything you were doing and trying to do. So anytime I can help someone else or be a support system, I feel like I've done it so long. It just feels natural to me.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, we met in the bathroom
at
an entrepreneur event hosted by Terry Griffin, right? And we all connected really well. And the reason why I bring up the relationship part is because that's what we connected on. We were there for business, but we connected about relationships and dating and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it was one of those like TV show moments where, you know, you get in the bathroom, it's a bunch of girls just coming out of stalls and fixing their makeup and hair and talking about dating, relationships and all of the things. And we don't know each other from a can of paint. So
I feel like that's where you meet the best people.
Absolutely. In the bathroom.
Yeah. Random conversations. For some reason, you're just so open. You're just saying whatever to these people, these strangers you don't know. And you just feel so comfortable.
Yeah. Being yourself. Right. So networking is so important because who would have knew that bathroom conversation would bring us working together and networking together. And me attending your bit, I'm joining your community. Okay, like today. So
Thank you.
yeah,
I relate so much to what you were saying about being so hyper focused on business and work than love. But
yeah,
I had to like see it like, okay, I need to focus more because I
yeah,
want this too, right? So I got to put more energy into the love part.
yeah.
Because I remember days where I would be so busy with work and I wouldn't even remember I was single until I made it home. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, let me get back on this date nap.
Or it's trying to go somewhere, right? And now you need someone
Yeah.
to go with you. You're like, oh, you know what?
Yeah. So it's, really finding that balance of, realizing that love is just important,
It
finding
is.
someone just for you.
Yeah. And I feel like it's just because you need that support system behind you. It can be fuel,
Mm-hmm.
if it's given in the right doses, right? And we're not talking about like that toxic stuff that take away type of
Mm-hmm.
love. We're talking about real love, pure love, true love, that good love,
The best
the
love.
best love. We don't want nothing less,
Yes.
So having that companionship and have somebody to open up to and have someone to like kind of what bounce things off of,
Mm-hmm.
it's helpful. It only builds your empire even stronger. And then, obviously you want to build a family. Maybe not. Do you want to build a family?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Having an empire and being like the power couple,
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Yeah.
Like that's how I see my future going. Like if it's my business or his business, we make it one, or I'm supporting him, he's supporting me, but in the end we come together to support each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that's the recipe, right? And black love, mixed love, all kind of love. We're not excluding nobody, but I feel like we need to absolutely focus on love and dating correctly in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
It's all messed up right now, and we just gotta redirect it
Yeah.
and say we truly want love and companionship and no more of this men against women type of thing.
Oh man,
Yeah.
cancel all toxic podcasts in 2025 that's not promoting healthy love,
Yes.
black love. Well, any kind of love, like she said. But if you're, dismissing it or being negative, we don't want that.
We don't want that. No more. All
I
right.
agree.
Yeah. Any final words before we wrap up?
Well, I didn't tell you about my stock market trivia game.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yes. So I created a trivia game. It's been about a year and a half. So I've really been selling it online and in person, like events. But basically, I wanted something that was fun because usually when I meet people, they want to invest, they want to trade, they want to learn, but it comes off boring, like to a lot of people. So I wanted to make something that people can enjoy. So I created a trivia game that you can play with your loved one, your friends, a game night, things like that. So I'm currently working to try to revamp it now that it's been a year and a half. I see what things I want to improve, make it better, and I'm also trying to get it in stores, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart. Y'all hear me out there?
Yeah, let's get
I'm
it.
speaking it into existence.
It's going to be there.
Yes.
But most of all, you're going to find that link at the bottom of this video. So,
yes.
Yeah. So buy it, try it out, give it a review. Let us know if it's helpful to you. But yeah, support. Let's grow together. Let's get educated when it comes to finances. And most of all, love everybody.
Love everybody. It's so important. Love yourself.
Love yourself. Start there.
Yes. That's that was on my vision board this year.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Self-love.
Self-love. Yes.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. I had to work on that over the last 2 years, and And it's so crazy because you think you love yourself until you realize I'm loving someone else more than I'm loving myself.
Yes.
Let me redirect that. So,
and I feel like that comes from the girl, like being the first girl, the oldest, all of that energy that, because I've been there of putting people before me. And then I have to realize, like, okay, I got to think about me. I got to put me first. And even though it feels different for us, right? Because we're so used to putting people ahead of us, but sometimes we have to be selfish. We have to put ourselves first.
We do.
And so important.
Yeah. I'm the firstborn girl too.
Yeah.
Like the same. I have an older brother, but the boys, they go and they do their own thing. So yeah, I understand the weight that's there with that. Yeah. Yeah.
So we got us this year.
We got us this year.
We're gonna focus on loving us.
If they don't agree, oh well, we're doing it anyway. So
yeah, because you gotta think, like, even when you're in situations, right? Is this somebody who is putting themselves first? Yeah, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror sometimes.
Absolutely, and you attract better. Yeah, when you loving yourself better, you attract better things.
Need that
just
good
into
energy.
Your life. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this has been an episode of Portia's Queen, the podcast with Sammi Sosa. You could
be Sosa.
Yes, go ahead and drop your handles. Let them know where they can find you and get more information.
Sure. So again, this is Sammi Sosa. You can find me on Instagram at the Sammi Sosa, no I, Sammi Sosa, on all platforms. And you can visit my website at skatetowealth.com.
And that's a wrap.